Hi guys, it's William Angel here, and today I'm going to be talking about world events, namely this coronavirus pandemic, and more importantly, people's response to it. Now bear in mind that this was not a video that I wanted to make, but I feel I am obligated to do so. And the reason for that is that the response to this, from mainly the media, but also a few certain individuals, has been an absolute disgrace. And I don't use these hyperbolic words lightly either. Now, the reason that this has popped into my mind right now is because David Icke has been banned from YouTube. And I thought that that was the perfect time to address this, because David Icke is an interesting guy who has a lot of different opinions about this. All of them go against the mainstream narrative. So it's no surprise that he's been banned if you've been following the trends of social media throughout the last couple of years, where they do ban people with controversial opinions. That isn't a surprise. But David is such an out there figure. He's a conspiracy theorist. He believes out there things, such as the good old lizard people and things like that turn people off to him and like to dismiss him. But I think that makes it even more important to discuss freedom of speech. Freedom of speech should apply on these platforms because they are monopolies. They have massive impact on the way people view the world, and therefore they should not be able to ban people due to arbitrary terms of service that they change at a whim just because they don't like someone at that particular minute. Now, I don't care if you like David Icke or anyone else who's been banned, because it's not just him, of course. There is plenty of people who have been banned because of this, and I don't care if you like them. This is not on. Opinions should be out there for people to make their own mind up on about whether they think they're serious or whether they think they have validity or not. We should not need Big Brother telling us what opinions we can or can't see. This is not 1984, or at least it shouldn't be. Here you have one narrative coming from the mainstream media that is completely unquestioned, and anyone who dares say something different, anyone who dares question the statistics regarding the virus and whether the lockdown is necessary, about whether the lockdown will end up doing more harm than the actual virus itself, these are very valid questions that need to be asked. And the fact that those questions are being clamped down upon, well, it leaves me scratching my head to say the least. And David, along with many others, was one of the people who were questioning this. And I agree with some of what David says, and I disagree with a lot of other things he says. But you know what? I'm an adult. I can make my mind up for myself. I'm not stupid. Even if the mainstream media and the government think I am, I'm not. So as long as they're not literally pushing violence and suggesting violence, then I'm fine with it. Freedom of speech should apply on every platform as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure there will be some people making the argument, oh, people like David Icke are dangerous because they're spreading false information. Well, again, that's debatable. I mean, what is and what isn't false information? I don't trust everything that comes from the WHO, for example. I don't trust everything the state tells us. Doesn't mean that I trust everything David Icke says, but again, I should be free to make that choice. And as far as I know, David has not told people to go out and attack people. He's not told anyone any alternative means to cure themselves or anything like that. No, he's just given his opinion. And millions of people listen to him and find he has something interesting to say. And you know what? That's A-okay. So David Icke should not be banned, nor should anyone else questioning this narrative. And you know what? That leads me on to my overall point. People like Piers Morgan, for example, in the media, they're on every day pounding and pounding away about the death toll and how bad this is and how we're all going to die and how we need to stay in lockdown for an indefinite period of time without even considering the other side of the argument, without even considering the economic effect of this lockdown, without even considering the people who are not getting checks for cancer, the people who are going to commit suicide because of depression, and all these other nuances that go into this argument. It's not a simple argument. Please keep perspective, people. Whether you think this virus is a massive threat or whether you don't, or any opinion in between, is really irrelevant. If you take one thing out of this video, which again I felt I had to make because people need to hear this message, keep perspective. Don't let people silence you. Your opinion is valid, just as valid as the mainstream media's, that is for sure. So when you have organisations like the BBC, taxpayer-funded organisations mind you, who feel it is their duty to report people and get them banned for having a different opinion to the mainstream narrative, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry for getting angry. I don't like to lose my temper, but I am getting angry at this whole situation because it's just not on. And I know it's going to sound kind of ironic, me saying it's on YouTube in a YouTube video, but I understand that YouTube is a trash platform. And I will openly say that on this platform. No one will probably care because I don't have a big audience, but I don't really give a fuck. I'm going to say what I think. This platform, along with many other platforms, are trash in terms of preserving people's freedoms. They are trash and should be treated as such. And I don't care if I get kicked off the platform for saying this. Couldn't give a fuck. This is the truth of the matter. And the fascist bootlickers who try to play this off as some kind of liberal thing and they're doing the world a favour by shutting people up. No, you're not. You're only digging your own graves. Tomorrow, they're going to come for you. You do realise this, right? Just because they're targeting someone you don't like today, it won't be that way tomorrow. You have to stand up now where you still have a modicule left of freedom of speech. You really do have to stand up right now. And I'm not saying that I know best. I'm not saying that I know the perfect way to get out of this lockdown or the perfect way to try and stop the virus. I would have some ideas, but again, I don't have all the facts at my disposal to make that decision. All I am doing is simply asking for an open mind. That's all I'm asking for. And to stand up for your freedoms. Do not let your personal freedoms be eaten away. Do not let the police stop you from going out for a walk in a countryside because you want to get some exercise. Do not let that happen. Because if we do go all the way down that road, the outcome of that will be much, much worse than this virus. And I'm not downplaying the virus. What is it, 28,000 people in the UK, where I'm from, have died from it? That is of course a tragedy. And every single death from this is a tragedy. But so is a response. And again, keeping things in perspective, that key word being in perspective, the damage that this could do in the long term could be far, far worse than that. So yeah, please, to anyone watching this, I really do just beg, think for yourselves. Don't take anything anyone tells you at face value. Try and do your own research. Try and come to your own conclusions. And do not give in to fascism disguised as liberalism. And you know what? We will come out of this lockdown at some point. Whenever the government decides that we will come out, we will come out. Same goes around the world. Some countries have not even gone into lockdown, and they're not doing much worse, but hey, that's another topic entirely. When we do come out of this lockdown, try to keep an eye on the powers that be, and make sure that they do roll back all of these infringements on our freedom that they've imposed on us. Hold them to account. Let's not be fighting amongst ourselves, grassing people up for daring to go outside. Let's try and have each other's back during this hard times. Let's support people who have been silenced, who have lost their jobs. Whether that be some guy who works for a company that's just gone bust. Whether that be a David Icke type figure who's been censored off one of these social media giants. Whoever it be, have their back during these tough times. Again, it doesn't really matter what you think of them. There's a far bigger threat at play here. The virus, of course, is a threat. But the reaction to this virus also has a potential to be just as big a threat. So please, keep that in mind. And again, I didn't want to make this video. I don't want to get involved in this kind of stuff if I can help it. But seeing the constant response to this, it's just done my head in. And it's not so much a response in and of itself. It's a sheer and utter disdain. The people who have a different view to the mainstream in any way, shape or form have been treated. They've been treated like fucking cattle. And it's just not acceptable. So yeah, I'm just a guy who values freedom. I'm a guy who can look at things and come to my own conclusions, thank you very much. I don't need Piers Morgan or the BBC to do my thinking for me. I will take the government's advice on board, but I will also not believe every statistic that comes out of their mouth, considering that the computer model that they use that got us into this lockdown predicted that 500,000 people would die in this country from the coronavirus. So even computer models I treat with a fair degree of skepticism, as should everyone else. So yeah, I do have to stop myself now, I wasn't going to ramble on forever, but perspective, keep calm, don't let your fear rule you when it comes to this virus. Use common sense. If you're at risk from this virus, by all means, take precautions, try and stay away from people, try and self-isolate. But don't just think that crashing the economy is 100% the right thing to do because of this virus that may kill people. I mean, it's sad, but it's the reality of the situation. We are going to have to come out of this lockdown at some point. And whenever we do, just because the government decides to cut off the lockdown, it's still going to be an arbitrary way at the end of the day. It's not going to be 100% safe when we come out of this lockdown, but we are going to have to get on with our lives. And we can't do that when everyone's buying up the fear coming from the media. So yeah, thanks for hearing me out everyone. I know this is not the type of video I usually make. I usually like to do my cartoon and video game reviews, and I wish I was doing that today. But I had to get this off my chest, because I will not stand by and watch this continue. I'm someone who values freedom, and as such I will speak out when freedom is being abolished. And I will happily debate anyone on this. Not that anyone would want to debate me, but if anyone has any questions or comments that they would like to say regarding anything I've said here, I will happily answer them, because I'm not a hypocrite. I will happily take challenges. I will happily discuss my ideas with people and try to come to a conclusion that suits us all. That's what I'm all about. I'm about trying to help people. And I'm not quite sure this current situation is helping anyone. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully next video I can get back to talking about something more positive, if I'm still on this platform. Goodbye, guys.